Welcome, everybody. All right, hold on. We got to check the stream because I'm getting mixed messages. Let me see. What is happening? Welcome back, by the way. Why can I not see? Oh, okay. So let me see. Let's turn down the volume. What is happening? Somebody put it in the bottom. Because I can hear, it looks like we're streaming, but I don't see, I'm not having any problems with the audio. Are you guys, what's happening? Somebody said it's clipping, but I'm sending a good level. Let me see. Am I getting a level? Hold on. Bad sound mix. All right, hang on. You know this is happening because I didn't change anything. So it should be getting a good mix. Let me see. Let me check the settings over there. Hold on. Okay, let's see. How's that? Let me see. That should be better. What do you think, you guys? How are we doing? Did that fix it? So I went over there and I checked the streaming software and it was set on like internal microphone or something. It shouldn't have been on that. This should be better. I don't know. It just updated, the software updated, and now it's, of course it's wacky. All right, I'm gonna assume this is good. Let's get back to playing. And welcome. guys. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. But sometimes you can't avoid it. All right. Welcome. Let's see who's here. Let's say hello. I know some of the repeat offenders are here. And, you know, it always works like that. You update the software. I selected something about a virtual mic because it's pushing me. You know, it's like, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to upgrade, right? This is good. Right before the live stream. All right. Welcome, one and all. Today, we're focusing on rhythm. Welcome, Mary, Cornelius, Roseanne, of course. Thank you, our host. Rebecca's here, Lacey. Who else is here? Connor. And being very helpful, thank you for the feedback about the audio. Barry, hello from Spring, Texas. Well, hello. I was just up in Seattle, and I was in Florida. I guess I should go to Texas next. I like going to Texas. They just had their state music educator conference. The best in the country. The biggest, for sure. Really amazing. Charlotte's here. Welcome. Charlie. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So what are we doing today? I promised you a focus on rhythm, so we're going to do that for sure. And I hope some of you have questions about that. I recently did a new video on rhythm. So if you haven't been following the channel, go look it up. You can search the channel, Rhythmic Development. There's some fun ways you can practice rhythm. We'll talk about them. And there are some fundamental ways you can practice rhythms without any equipment. You don't need gear really to work on your rhythm. So that's the good news. The bad news is a lot of you, I'm not pointing any fingers. A lot of you, and me too, look, we all need to work on our rhythm, all right? And some of us need to work on it more than others. But it's all good. That's why we're here. That's why World Drum Club exists. That's what I do. I teach a lot. I just got back from teaching some music teachers up in Seattle. Again, the NAFME, which is the National Association for Music Education, and the Washington State Music Educators Conference was up there in beautiful Bellevue, Washington. Beautiful. Had a great time. So thank you to all the music teachers, your music teachers, as well as the music teachers who are currently teaching music. They just do an amazing job. I don't know how they do it, to be honest. I just don't know. Some of them are, wheeling a cart around to classrooms and teaching 250 kids a week or maybe more. It's pretty crazy, but we love our music teachers and we love our musicians. So I do have a video I want to play you today that is a musical game. I picked one that has to do with rhythm, and maybe we can do this first. We'll watch the video and then we'll come back and we'll dig into it as a kind of featured topic for today. This video, as many of them are on the show, is from the musical games for groups. It's called Drum Fun, and that was a video, and then it was a DVD, and now it's online at our Patreon site over there, patreon.com/Kalani. So there's a whole collection of these kinds of things, musical games. And I usually play one of these because it's different. I can't show you a musical game here right now, because it's just me. So that's why I often play these videos, because it's with a group and it's kind of fun. So let's take a look at that. It'll take 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll see you on the other side. All right. And this has to do with rhythm and phrasing. Let's check it out. Okay, this is called 4 on the floor, and it means 4 people drumming at one time or playing together.
whatever instrument you have. We all have different instruments, and that's great because we're going to hear different ensembles as it moves around. So what we're going to do is we'll start off with one group over here, Taekwondo Chris, and then they're going to play for 16 beats. So that's 4 counts of 4, right? This is all about 4. 4 counts of 4. Then Taekwondo's going to stop, and Jim's going to start. And so we'll have a new group of 4 with one extra person being added. So let's do this. Every time we add a person, right before they come in, let's say their name. And Jim, right before. And Margaret. We'll say their name right before they come in. Okay? And I'll count along, get you guys going, and then we'll go around the group. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and play. 1, 2, 4, and Jim. And Margaret. And Bill. And Shauna. And Mike. Jeremy. And Lily. And Tanya. And Chris. And Melanie. And Leo. And Michelle. And Samuel. And 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, pretty fun game. Also, I wanted to just mention that the reason I was late getting in here is because for some reason, again, there's this like an update of the software. My computer just stopped streaming, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know. I'd never seen that screen before. So yeah, it kicked me off the stream, first of all, and then I had the audio wacky. So I do apologize for that. But check this out. Look at this. How sneaky is this? Following along right here. I've got all this stuff clipped onto my conga drums now. So I've got a little a phone holder. It's a folder. And so you guys are down here. I do want to mention that I've got these products again from the Native Tongue Percussion. I'll show you guys the packaging. Well, you can kind of see it. Native Tongue Percussion. I want to thank Mike Lenz for sending me some of these products, like the bell strikers, these block strikers that they go on the side of the drums. I did these last week. I'm not going to go over them all again, but they're pretty cool. I'll be adding some more in the future, but let's do a shout out for Native Tongue Percussion. And they are also they're active now on the World Drum Club Facebook group. And thank you, Roseanne, for reminding me to mention the Facebook group. So you guys go over there if you're not a member, because that's where we can sort of keep in touch during the week. And I like to get your questions, your feedback, your ideas over there, because honestly, the community forum at Patreon kind of sucks a bit. And so we don't really use that. If you're a patron, you can message me your questions and requests. But if you're not, or even if you are, use the Facebook one. It's just better. All right? So join that. All right. Feature today, rhythm. Why is it important? I just talked about this with the music educators, and I wrote this in the kind of preamble to this live stream, and that is that, not only is, of course, rhythm is the energizer and organizer of music. Those are two big responsibilities, right? Two big features of music. The organizer and the energizer, both. Yes, the bunny. But really, how important is that? It's super important. And as I heard Chad Smith, the drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, just mentioned in a documentary, you can have a mediocre band with a great drummer, like mediocre musicians with a great drummer, and the band will sound pretty good. It'll see, oh, they sound good. You'll be like, yeah, that sounds good. But you can have great everyone else, and if the drummer is not also great, not going to sound good. That's how important rhythm is. That's how important drumming is. So what can we do to tune in to develop a sense of rhythm? I'm going to start big, and then we'll go zoom in a little bit. A few things you can do, and I talk about these in some videos, but I'm going to just recap right now. One of the things you can do is go for a rhythm walk. And I recommend for you or for your students or anybody you're helping with rhythm, if you start off with what we call gross motor movements. And no, those aren't motor movements that make you go, ah. Those are big limb movements. So legs and arms generally is what we call gross motor. And locomotor, of course, is movement. So walking, usually on our legs, unless you're really nimble and fit, in which case you might use your arms. But I'm going to assume we're all using our legs for walking. And it's a great thing. Put a metronome, just keep it with you, or you can have an earbud or Bluetooth to a track, and just do a rhythm walk. So you feel the beat in your body. And often it is kind of just a right, left, right, left. Even when we're playing, we do a lot of right, lefts, right, lefts. It's very much back and forth kind of movement. And if you can get comfortable with that, and what I recommend too is not to go to the rhythm. Set the tempo according to you. So kind of just go for a walk. Find your walking tempo. It's probably somewhere from 85, 90 up to 100, 105, 110, right in that range. That's kind of our walking range. Let's say 100, 90 to 100. And set your metronome or your beat, or find a music that you like, and just walk to the rhythm. And that also, of course, parlays into dancing. If you guys aren't moving, dancing, you're not comfortable dancing, or you don't like dancing, please try to become comfortable and like dancing. Because dancing, look, most drummers and percussionists, a lot of musicians also dance because it's movement. It's all part of the same thing. Dancing is drumming on the floor, literally if you're tap dancing, of course. But even like gumboot stuff or a lot of, it's all drumming. All right? So tap into, pun intended, the bigger movements, walking, and then if you want to start using your arms for stuff, which I assume you do, create something where you've got like larger movements, and that is stabilizing. So maybe play doon-doons or bass drums or something. Instead of getting into the fine motor, the finger stuff, I recommend you do something that takes up space. So an arm movement. And why is this important? Well, most people rush. Most people, if they're not playing in time, they're usually getting ahead of the beat. As a groups tend to get behind the beat and drag, but that's different. Individuals tend to rush. They just want to play. They kind of play according to the physicality of playing. So if it's an easy movement, if it's a short movement, people tend to do it fast, and they're not really listening. So if you want to slow yourself down, put some brakes on a little bit and get aligned with the pulse, do things that take up more space. And that's going to be a way to kind of limit your ability to rush, all right? So do those things. Go for a rhythm walk, dance to music, do things with a big movement, big muscle movements. And then now let's move on from beat. That's kind of steady beat stuff, just tuning in with the beat. And then you want to do things that help you divide the beat in different ways. And that's the video I just did recently. When I say recently, I mean a couple months ago. but ways you can practice subdividing. All right, so subdividing, we just take a pulse and we chop it in 2. Right, and then we chop it in 3. And then we chop it in 4, etc. And you don't have to go on and on with that. You know, if you can divide something in half, in 3, in 4, that's fine. That's all you need to be able to do. Because then everything's just different versions of that, sped up, slowed down. So practice that, practice with the metronome, have a click or backing track, and play along, and do it a lot. Do it many hours, all right? Learning music isn't something that you just intellectualize, especially drumming and playing with beats and things. You can intellectualize melody and harmony, I think, faster, but drumming and percussion is a physical thing. It's a lot of muscle memory. It's a lot of muscle training. It's called motor planning, right? And in order to play on time, right? In order to play a drum on time, you have to leave early, right? Because you can't start the movement when you're supposed to be playing the beat. Then you're late. So that's called motor planning, and there's an intimate relationship that we create with all of these instruments because we need to know and have a feel for how long is it going to take for me to start this motion and then be on that note, produce that note on time, right? And for drummers and percussionists, it's different with everything we do. It's different with every instrument. We're not playing the same instrument all the time. We don't have all the notes just right here at our fingertips, for example, and we're just blowing. You know, I'm not saying it's easy to play other instruments, but a lot of other instrumentalists have kind of one set of skills, and then they can really dig in and use that set of skills. We're doing all kinds of different movements. Playing the shaker is a lot different than playing the conga drum. Or even playing the triangle. They're all very different. So we need to learn how to motor plan ahead on many different instruments. So that's an added challenge. But start with something you're familiar with, start with something you enjoy playing, and keep that in mind when you practice. It's a lot of repetition. Do things over and over and over. Get your questions kind of ready. Think about questions you have related to this, because we'll do Q&A in a bit, all right? The last thing I want to leave you with as far as developing your sense of rhythm is to play with and for others, all right? Play with other people and play for other people. Put yourself in a situation where, for example, people are relying on you to play music. I did a lot of dance classes, you know, when I was out of college or even in college. Not only would I practice with friends, get together and jam, okay, that's one thing, but we would play like for dance classes, and that's great. It's just it just forces you to elevate your game, you know, because you can't just stop and take a break. You're providing a service. So what I'm saying is try to provide a service where you will need to practice because you have a goal and you have something you're trying to provide for others. That is one of the best ways for you to improve, because then you have pressure and you've got a challenge and it's going to motivate you, all right? So if you're just doing everything on your own, you know, at home by yourself, you can do that. I'm not saying you can't, but I am saying it's going to push you even more and give you goals and give you some drive and a challenge if you can set up a gig or two, or set up an appointments to jam with people, set up a play date. A play music date with people and just play, and then ask for feedback. And feedback is an objective. It's kind of like, you know, asking people to help you. Where am I weak in my playing? Does this sound like it's on time? Or is this grooving? You know, and just get feedback from people. Also make recordings of yourself and listen to them. When we play, a lot of times when we're playing, we're not really aware of if it is on the beat or not, or how the groove is and that kind of thing. But when you listen back to it later and you're not actually doing it at the time, you have a better sense, I think, of how it sounds, right? That makes sense, right? Because it just gives you fewer things to do at one time. All right. So if you have any questions about any of those things, there's more. There's more ways we can improve our rhythm, but those are a few key ways. Simple. You don't need any gear, except when you're practicing playing instruments, of course, then you need that instrument. But basically, you can think of just, playing with your hands, playing with sticks, shaking things. Those are the basics, and that's what we all do as percussionists. All right, so I do have a Reflections of Yanni for you today, and then we're going to do Q&A, and then we're going to do our Gimme 5 thing. But keep your questions coming if you have them. Oh, good. Barry is playing at your first wellness retreat coming up this Sunday. That's awesome. Be of service. It's a great. That's how I got really good on native flute. Actually, it was playing for yoga classes. And ukulele, I was doing music therapy. I was playing, just like when we would do the drum camp. I did drum camp for about 10, 11 years. And I had a goal of playing around the campfire, playing songs. And so I learned a bunch of songs. So I could do that. I could provide that service to the community. So anything like that is awesome. Go play for people in retirement homes. They would love that and learn some oldies, learn some songs from, say, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and go play them for the folks. Okay, I want to show you the Reflections of Yanni, what I have for you guys today. Let me see. I think it's here. There it is. Wow. I have two photos, and these are from, okay, so the one over here, this one, is, as you probably can guess, it's from the Live at the Acropolis concert, the taping. And for some reason, I'm walking across the front of the stage, which is unusual. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. It must have been a rehearsal, because they didn't usually let me down there to the front of the stage. But you can see the beautiful, the Herodian Theater in the back, beautifully lit. And then, of course, we were all looking up at the Parthenon, up the amphitheater, and at the top is the Parthenon. So there, that's me in the front. Long hair, yes, that is me, with the the London Philharmonic Summer Orchestra members in the background. All right, so that's one of the only photos I actually have of the concert environment. And where am I walking? I'm walking over to this box down there that's on the stage that is a QR code if you'd like to donate. We do like to collect donations during these live streams and after. You could scan that now or later, and that is a donation QR code. Super easy. I'm just going to mention it because it looks like I'm walking over to kick it or something. And then on this side, over here, we're backstage, probably just having dinner. And I just want to draw your attention to, near me, like right over here, is Karen with a great face, making a great face. I love that one. And then across from her, I think that's a member of the crew in the back, and then Rick Fiorabracci, who was a bass player for 92, 93 when I was on it, and then Rick stayed on and played with Yanni a few more years. And then next to him is Bradley Joseph, keyboardist. All right, so that's Bradley. And then across from Bradley, next to Karen, is Lynn. I don't remember Lynn's last name right at this moment. Lynn was one of our two diva singers. So Darlene Colva, I'm going to mess her name up. Darlene, I'll just call her Colva Hogan, I think. Darlene K. Who was just nominated for an award, I think. She's still out there doing some great stuff. They were our two singers on that song, Aria. All right, so that's what was happening there. All right, let's get to some questions and the Gimme 5 preparation stuff. We start the Gimme 5 suggestions. You guys know how this works. If you don't, that's okay. It's basically select 5 instruments that you see around here. Let me show you some of the things I have today. Let me see. Can I go over here? Well, you can kind of see here. Look, here's a little music stand. I've got a couple triangles. I've got Kabasa shakers, kashishi, another shaker, this thing, toy. I've got a gankogui, I've got a triple bell, so double bell and triple bell. And this one is kind of tuned. That's a Pete Engelhardt bell. And then in gankogui, you know, I've got the usual stuff. Maraca, another shaker, a wood block. Congas, bongos, bells, blocks, can-do, cajon, just say the green cajon or the little cajon, and of course the big cajon down here. All right, so that's basically what's here, and then I do have the native flutes over here, and in back of me over there. Somewhere over there. We've got flutes all over the place. All right, so think about that. Give me 5 suggestions in the chat, and Roseanne will pick somebody. And yes, you can add basically a tempo, like just say slow, medium, fast, and a style and a dedication if you like. All right, but at the very minimum, I just need 5 instruments. All right. Let's do Q&A. Do we have any questions? Thank you, Barry. Oh, you were saying looking good for the Acropolis thing. I thought you meant now. I'll take both. All right. All right, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, I guess we're moving on. But we have time. So if you have any questions about rhythm stuff, let me know, or whatever, anything else. I will say that, you know, if you can get a metronome like the one, I use I use an old school metronome for a lot of the stuff I do here. And you can see it on some of my videos, but any metronome that's got the ability to play multiple subdivisions at the same time, I really like that. Sometimes I'll put on a 3+2, like or a 4 with 3, 4 and 3 at the same time. Something like that, and that's just fun to play to. Just put that on. Either one of those, either 2 against 3 or 3 against 4. And that kind of opens up your creativity a bit. And it'll also help you start hearing subdivisions polymetrically or polyrhythmically. And what does that mean? Just means, of course, poly means multiple, right? More than one. And that's really fun when you can hear. And I kind of did that at the opening. We were playing in 4/4, and I started playing a shaker kind of in a triple feel. You can take rhythmic practice in lots of different directions, and it doesn't have to be according to any specific genre or rules or anything. Just do what you want to do and be creative and have fun with it. It's playing music, right? Just play. Music is made up a lot of different things. But it's just building blocks. It's all blocks, all right? It's all building blocks. And the more you handle those blocks, to stick with the analogy, the more comfortable and nimble and agile and, the easier it gets, right? So it's just a matter of building familiarity. And like I said earlier, you need to have an intimate relationship with music, which means you've got to show up to the music and let the music come through you. A lot of people talk about that. We're just accessing what's out there. All the music is happening all the time. You can think of it this way. All the music is happening all the time, and we just tap into it. We just access it, and we channel it. But that's a skill. It doesn't mean that we don't have any skills, and now all of a sudden we're playing all this music. That's not what that means. It means that we need to be ready and able to channel the music. We need to be able to do it. And then it can flow in and out, and then it's there. So we're just joining with the music. We're not necessarily creating all the music. We're just letting the music kind of come out. So you end up being more of a portal. Ooh, that sounds magical. All right. What is he talking about? All right. Anyone else? Are you picking one? Roseanne, are you doing the Gimme 5? And that's fine if you are. I'm just asking. So we have bongos, kashishi, native flute, cajon, cowbell, medium tempo, salsa. All right. All right. Bongos, kashishi. I'm just going with this. And you know what, you guys, I love that you're having good conversations down here and sort of trading information, but also take that to the Facebook group. I'm not saying don't do it here, but I'm saying also take it to the Facebook group, because then it's sort of there, and there's a thread and everything. Because I think this chat kind of vanishes when the stream is over, I think. You can watch the live streams after the fact, of course, but the chat stuff, so if you want to share information or give advice or ask a question, do it in the Facebook group. So it's there. All right. All right, Roseanne. Yes, I'm doing Gimme 5. Got you. No problem. Let me move this. Squeaky. I should have included this in one of the instrument choices. Oh, Bill, you showed up a little too late. Roseanne beat you to it. All right. But next week, all right, let me go back. Any preference on NAF? If it's salsa stuff, I guess I'm going to go with a higher pitched one. At least A. Maybe higher. I don't know. I'll get something going first, and then we'll go back there. Medium tempo. So when I hear medium tempo, to me, that's about like 100, 90 to 100. Let me get this looper ready. The reverb. Okay, so cowbell, cajon, kashishi, bongos. All right. We might end up with some congas in there. I have a feeling that that is entirely possible. By the way, before we do this, you guys remember percussion masterclasses and Zuma flute-alongs every second and fourth Sundays. The percussion masterclass is 10:30. Zuma flute-alongs are 12 to 1 on Sundays, second and fourth Sundays. All right? That's for patrons. All right, I'm going to switch over to the better mic. This is a good mic, but it's not great for music. Not the most musical sounding. It's kind of more for voice. And let's do it. Here we go. Ask and you shall receive. That was fun. Never did that before, ever. Okay, you guys, it's about time. We have a few minutes just to wrap up or take care of any business. I kind of want to know what you guys have coming up. You can put it in the chats. And if you have any questions about anything I just did, I have no idea. No, I'm serious. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot them over because we have a couple minutes here. All right. Yes. Whew. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I do. Hold on. I kind of want to add it into the jam. We'll include the phone holder squeaker, phone holder / squeaker in future Give Me Fives. And that's a great reminder to us that everything is an instrument, you guys. Everything. You can find a way. All right. So, play music wherever you are. You can play music anywhere. You don't have to don't think like, oh, I don't have my instrument, I can't do music right now, because that's not true. Something you could even try, this is kind of fun, just on your own, if you're out somewhere, a couple things. One, we're talking about rhythm today, so I'll focus on that. Just sit around, if you're sitting outside somewhere or watching people walk by or watching things, find somebody who's walking by, and in your mind, or maybe with your vocally, just softly, unless you want to do it louder, see if you can you can synchronize with the beat of different people walking or doing things, just different stuff. It's kind of fun, and that will help you be a more attentive musician, because you're really tuning in to not only the sounds, but the sights of what's around you. And, beyond the ability to play in time, right, for yourself, it's super important. If you want to do gigs, right, maybe you don't, but if you want to go out and play with other people, like Barry's going to do, well, I don't know if you're playing with other people, you're playing for people, right? But even if you want to play for people or with people, you've got to work on your ability to not just listen and hear, but to be able to process and join with the music of somebody else. And that could be one other person, it could be a whole group of people. But that skill, it's related, right? Because it's a little dynamic and fluid. And unlike a metronome or backing tracks, when you play with other people, it's dynamic. And it also includes sensibilities and it's an aesthetic experience. It's an aesthetic creation when we're playing with other people live. All right. Now, I'm not saying that when you practice by yourself, you're not also creating something and it has an aesthetic, right? What I am saying is when we have to join with another dynamic, person, thing, something, creating. And it could be nature, right? It could be a bird or an animal. It doesn't have to it could be a stream or leaves rustling in the wind. It's dynamic, and there's just a greater aesthetic there because it's 1 + 1 = 11 kind of thing, right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts in that way. And because here's my argument for that, to support that assertion, is that it's when you have one thing happening, one person playing music, and you join it with another thing that's playing music, you also have not only those two things, you also have a third thing, which is the combination of those two things, right? So it's not just two things. Okay, it's not 11 things. It's 3 things. It's at least 3 things. All right, you guys know what I mean. So that's another reason that you want to play with others. Play well with others. Okay, I'm going to check these. Do I have any recommendations for a digital audio workstation or a DAW? I think they're all good. I use Logic Pro because it's on the Mac. And I used to use Digital Performer. Great program. Amazing. It was more than I needed for what I do. I always thought I would need all these fancy features, and I don't. I end up I can do projects. I can actually do really good recordings and some projects and things on my home computer here, but I like Logic Pro. Pro Tools, of course, is great, industry standard, but I'd say unless you're doing professional level stuff a lot, it's not necessary. But I would say Logic, great program. If you're on a Mac. If you're not on a Mac, you can even there's a free program called Audacity that does a pretty good job. I don't know that people are using it in the professional world, but it has a lot of features. You can record music and it has effects and all kinds of stuff. It's called Audacity, and that's for Mac and PC. All right. Oh, Cubase. Yeah, Cubase is good. I think I used to have Cubase years ago. I had Steinberg 24 on an Atari 10. Was it a 1040? I think I had an Atari 1040. Remember when Atari made computers? You guys with me? You probably need to be at least 50 years old to remember that. All right. Any advice on, this is from Evan. Do you have any advice on building regular practice habits? I also recently joined a Latin jazz ensemble with 2 percussionists. Do you have any general tips for that setting? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lacey used Cakewalk too. Cakewalk's a great program too. They're all good. I would recommend learning one and sticking with it though, because you don't want to have to learn a bunch of different programs. So let me answer Evan's question, and then I'm going to see you guys next week. I'm going to say goodbye for today. So a couple things. Building regular practice habits. If you want to do any regular anything, it's good to put it in your schedule and stick to it. All right. So we probably already know that. I like to go through kind of a warm up, focus on fundamental, like rudimental stuff, technical things. So warm up, focus on technical things. I'm talking about one practice session right now. As far as getting to the practice session, I recommend just, having it in your schedule and having something in there. This is the third part of the individual, because this does both. Have something that you're excited about that's fun that you want to learn. So you're going to do warm up, do the drudgery stuff first, do the stuff that you have to do, like techniques and intellectual stuff, analytical stuff. Then have something really fun, like trying to learn a song or learn a beat or whatever. And then towards the very end of a practice session, you can either circle back around and review, or just do something really unexpected, like try to practice things that you just think about that you've never even thought about before. Practice something weird, so that you expand your horizons a little bit. As far as playing with percussionists, you guys just listen. If you have 2 percussionists in a band, you don't need to play a lot of tom-toms and stuff. I'd say focus on the groove. But, you can make space for each other and just try to accentuate what other people are doing. I always think about trying to play something that's complementary, right, to what other people are doing. And in fact, the more other people play, probably the less I will play. I would say I have an inverse relationship with complexity when I'm playing with other people, because I don't want to, if somebody else is playing a lot, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to also play a lot, because that just doesn't make sense. Musically, for the ensemble, for the end product. It's not a competition. Music is not a sport. So sometimes I end up balancing with other people, and at the same time, if people feel like, if I'm playing with somebody who's playing very sparse and simply, that gives me, I think, a little more leeway and license to do something a little more complex, But playing music in a band, playing for other people, is not about doing things that are necessarily exciting to us. right? We can do that on our live gigs, on our solo gigs when we're practicing. But when you're playing in an ensemble that has a function, right, like a salsa band or a healing retreat or something like that, it's always about being in service and doing whatever you feel is the best for the listener or for the dancers or for the people meditating or whatever they're doing. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I really appreciate you guys being here. And I hope you enjoyed the music. If you did, and if you like this stuff, remember you can scan the QR code now or later and drop a tip. That's like our tip jar. But I want to thank you all, and go over to patreon.com if you haven't already and become a patron. We've got over 1,000 videos on the channel, and I'm doing more every month. And make sure you tell your friends about Tuesday Museday, the live stream. And I will make sure that my software is working by next week. All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next week, and let's take the music out. Let's take it out.